Having Kyle and I and Ran and Rod all talking together, I thought it was gonna be an awesome opportunity for the property and to work together, and it turned out to be fantastic.
I just try to build fun golf and make the contours fit the property and the land.
When I look down at the aerials of old Golden Age architects' work, the thing that I'm most impressed by is the diversity. We're going to find our own cool little ways to try and do some interesting, diverse architecture.
It's an expansive property, rolling topography, stunning 250-year-old live oaks, sandy soil, and then it's surrounded by pasture land. And it just seemed very straightforward that the whole design process would be to capture the old Florida vibe.
You get these incredible vistas that kind of like the light kind of meanders through the oak trees, and you can kind of look out and you get this old Florida sense, and you feel like, oh, this is a land that feels like it's been here forever but has never told its golf story.
A goal for the entire project was to improve walkability and to have the course feel more intimate.
There's something to be said for having a walk on a property such as this. And playing the game with your friends. It's how this game was meant to be played, right? Just like we talk about firm and fast conditions, being more environmentally friendly. Walking is definitely a strong part of the game, something that we encourage here.
The longer you see the ball bounce and roll, the more enjoyable a shot it was. So we generally love to see a ball roll out and run for a long period of time. So the faster and firmer it is, the more you'll get to see the ball run and bounce. And then you'll see it turn and it might do all kinds of interesting tricks.
It's not a golf course, you know, you're gonna see they're gonna be uber green or ultra green. They're gonna be a mixture of colors, like a tawny color of brown, bronze, purple, green, light greens. We believe that the game starts at the ground. You know, the magic of the game is when the ball hits the ground, right? And then making all the contours sing once that happens. When you get around the greens, there is about every option you could imagine, from wedge, putter, hybrids, 7 irons, 5 irons, and that's kind of the interesting part.
Definitely had an intent of being able to keep the ball on the ground as long as you wanted. So there is a lot of room for the average player, and we are always looking to help the average player, help them along, make it more interesting, more enjoyable. One of the highlights for me with the project, working with our entire team, but also getting to work with Rod Whitman. I am such a fan of Rod Whitman's work. I've seen his work up across Canada. Watching him work, it's like watching a maestro.
Every green's different, depending on what you're trying to do design-wise. How do you get it close to the hole, and where do you got to play it?
So after Kyle Franz and Mike Nuzzo and I, along with Ben, first walked the property, we all wrote down holes you're most worried about. And all of us said that the holes we were most worried about are 1 and 2. So I'm super proud of how those 2 holes turned out.
That's an introduction to the golf course, that it's a completely different experience that you're about to have. Trying to use all the natural features we had, because we're going to get to some undulations, some hills over there. There was a nice ridge where there were some ornamental trees planted on the side, and it was an attractive ridge. And it turns out it's way more fun to play over it. The green's a little tricky, so the balls will shed off the green. So a good play is to land it just short, front short, and have the ball trickle on. And when the flag's back, you maybe go be a little more aggressive to try to land in the middle of the green and not have it roll off the back.
.12 is the longest par 4. There are no bunkers. There are no hazards on the hole. 100% ground game hole, 100% all about the land.
The green has a very biased location, so you can take on that small live oak and land past it in the fairway. You will be rewarded with a nice receptive swale up through the green. If you play out and safe, it's a little more abrupt and it's a little bit harder. So there is definitely a reward and incentive to playing closer to the corner.
The question was, how can you incorporate the sinkhole into the plane of a hole? You know, Rod's green, which is pretty skinny, and then wraps around the sinkhole. You've really got to nail the distance. The bunkers really don't immediately crowd the green, so I think it is hard to gain depth perception.
We really wanted to imbue a little bit of an unusual flavor because frankly, this is a very unusual green site, this whole area. So every unique area deserves its own really good, unique green site. So this green, it's small, it's tricky, it's slopey, and it's a great spot to play. And it's such a wonderful spot on the property.
The 16th hole, which is a dogleg to the left, par 5, 500 to 510 yards, and you get to the precipice of the 16th green, and you look around, and I think you can see about 14 or 15 different holes. There are not many areas of Florida where you can have 80 feet of elevation change. It's just magical, really.
So this is the highest spot on the Roost. Rand was a big proponent of really shifting the green and really having a great view of seeing this entire property. It's a gorgeous view from up here.
Horizon flag, so all you can see is the flag up there. And you know, so we decided to build the green up to augment that very sensation of being on top.
The entire property is meant to have all the golf holes be remarkable, to discuss all of them afterwards.
Showcasing old Florida, right? With the trees, the motif, and that's kind of what Roost has become.
You know, when you start talking about capturing tranquility or old Florida vibe, that you know, it's really a feeling that you get when you're here and you have to walk up and down the hills and hear the winds through the trees and just, you know, feel yourself slowing down.